I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on Logic Before Authority. And unfortunately, we've got to talk about this activation thing some more. I've been pondering all the things, and you remember when they put in the genetic altering material into everybody's bodies, and people were noticing that they were connecting with Bluetooth and their blood was turning a weird color when a black light was shined on their hands and things like this, and they became magnetic and all these things. And well, I also remember too that, well, there was something else they got everybody to do besides take a free needle. They had them put a Q-tip up the nose, up into the sinuses, up to the olfactory nerve area, right on the bottom of the ethmoid bone, right here. And it's significant, and I'm going to explain and show you why. What this is it is an antenna. Okay, and I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. Let's see, where shall we start? Oh yeah, this is, thanks again from Australia. Catherine Downover, 7927, for giving me the information about the new emergency alert system. Thank you very much for that information. Y'all guys can submit that kind of information to me. You can send me a message via text message if you want. You can also put it in the comments, but I don't, especially if you're multiple days late, I may not see it. Okay. Trying to make this a different color so you can see the actual number. Yeah, you can see it there. Okay. So don't call it. It's just text only. You call it, you're just not going to end up speaking to me because I have it turned where it doesn't ring my phone. Now, let's get back to where we were at. It's not for small talk. It's just for sending me links or specific information related to the work that I'm doing. Okay. All right. So let's go back over here. Let's look at what this is trying to tell us a little bit here. Okay. See, there are different things in the body that act like antennae. For one, the hairs on your body are one, okay? This is why when there's danger, the hair stands up on you. The hair is an antennae, is sensing and trying to sense danger or other things that may be going on. And so the skin and the hair are your first line of antennae. But also, and this is also why the Indian Braves, they did a study on Indian Braves compared to Braves that had their heads shaved. And the Indian Braves who still had their long hair had the ability to outmaneuver and sense danger and every time and defeat the ones with their heads shaved. Makes you wonder why they shaved everybody's heads and wore it on it. And of course, the kings of old used to shave everybody's heads. But actually, hair is not what we're going to be talking about here. We're going to be talking about other things that act as antennae in the body. And for one, olfactory cilia, okay, located in the nasal cavity. These tiny hair-like structures extend from olfactory sensory neurons They contain receptor proteins that bind to the airborne odor molecules, acting as the body's primary antenna for detecting smells. But there is also more going on there, okay, as well. This right here, where the ethmoid bone, and I'm going to show you the ethmoid bone itself here in just a moment. It's a very special bone, and some of you have heard me talk about it before. But these nerve endings that stick out below here, the reason I know they're extremely special is because these are the only nerve endings that are directly connected to the brain and to a very specific part of the brain. These are literally nerve endings coming off of the brain, exposed into the open air, basically, in the sinuses. All of the other nerve endings, like hair stereocilia found in the inner ear. These microscopic hairs vibrate in response to sound waves and head movements. And primary cilia that are on basically about every cell in the body, including your skin cells. They receive a chemical and mechanical signals from surrounding tissues. And you also have it when it comes to taste. Everything is based on frequency, you see. You hear based on frequency, you taste based on frequency, your eyesight is based on frequency, and your smell is based on frequency. And even our bodies themselves are based on frequency. But these nerves that are up here, they poke down through the ethmoid bone. Let me show you where they're coming through at. Okay, you see the Noah's Ark here? Noah's Ark with the Crista Galli up on the front of it, literally called the Crista Galli. See? The Crista, another word for crystal, or another word for Christ, or very similar to at least, and the galley where something hangs out. Okay, on a ship, the galley is where something or somebody or people or whatever hang out, right? Well, there's something else that hangs out here as well. Okay. And so let's look at this and realize that this looks like a ship. You can go pull up Noah's Ark, and you'll notice that it is very, very similar to this. And you'll notice that it also has the portals. Like portals. You got portals on here, on top of it, where information, or in the case of a real boat, goods are loaded in and unloaded out, right? They use the portals. But when it comes to the ethmoid bone, it's these nerves that hang down through here, coming off of the olfactory bulb. They hang down through these portals and are exposed to the outer world. Okay. Up in here is where, when they wanted you to get the, when they wanted the cotton swab to go up up your sinuses, up in this area is where they were trying to get. They were trying to go up in this area, okay? Also, I want you to notice that this looks like a cross, like a Christ cross with a veil hanging on it. And it's not just symbolic, because this bone, as you can see, it has pores in it. See these little bubble looking things here? And up here, and here, there, has all these little bubbles. And the reason why that's on there is because this bone is porous, okay? It's a very soft bone. It's one of the softest bones in the human body, okay? So, again, wanting you to notice that this looks like a crucifix. with a veil hanging on it. A veil is porous, okay? And of course, it being that it looks like a boat as well, and has the stern and the rudders and everything here in the water. And it also really looks like a sail mast as well. Like on a boat, you got the big mast that sticks up with the sails hanging down on it. See, this has everything to do symbolically with being a boat, okay? And it's not just by accident, okay? And what sails up through here, just like on the sails of a boat, is air, okay? And it penetrates these porous bones, and it also goes up in here and connects with these nerves, and these nerves sense things. You know, up here on the Crista Galli, there is a type of crystalline material that is in the Crista Galli, okay? It is what they claim that we've lost the use of it, but it is what gives, say, for instance, in birds, they have a similar thing. It's right above their beak, and it allows them to be able to sense the frequencies in the air so they know how to fly south and then fly back and come back to the same house again and visit your bird feeder, okay? They're able to track things like that due to frequency. And they have a crystalline type material in their Crista Galli, which is this hump right here that you see. This big hump right here called the Crista Galli. It's where you get your direction from. This is also why this is called the ethics or ethmoid bone, okay? You see where this is kind of going? You understand what I'm showing you? I hope so. So, now, what kind of, I'm not sure if I have this all in the exact order or not, but that's fine. Okay, here is the simplest of radios, and it uses crystal, okay, little piece of crystal in there. It uses crystal in order to function, just like you see here with these here. These have crystals in them that allow them to pick up a certain frequency. You see it says radio quartz plate. It's a crystal that's inside of this diode looking type thing here, okay? And these are for radio, just like it says here, radio, scientific radio, okay? Now we know that we have like a radio receiver in our forehead, right between our eyes, on the inside the Crista Galli, which sits on the boat. It gives the boat its direction, and it senses its direction through frequency. See where this is going yet? Here's an image of quartz crystal, okay? You also may know, or maybe you don't know, but quartz and gold and silver and iron actually, but quartz and gold especially run together. Quartz, like these quartz crystals here and all this quartz here, and gold, they run and are found together. And where are they found? They're found in the veins of ancient giant trees. The trees of old is where they're found. And they're used, of course, in radios. Like this is a radio that they sold to kids in the 70s. And this was the antenna, the yellow wire over here. And this over here was the earphone. And this radio required no batteries, no electricity, because the crystal provided the electricity. You see, when you turn this dial, it would put pressure on the crystal. When you put pressure on a crystal, it produces a frequency and can receive as well a frequency. It produces an energy, even a very low voltage. Okay. Now, you may be wondering at this point what this has to do with this. Well, it has to do with this cotton swab right here. This cotton swab. And the cotton swab was white, so it must have been clean. And it just had a cotton tip. There's only cotton on there. Right? You checked it, didn't you? You know that it was just cotton. And I'm sure most of you listening didn't have one of these rammed up your nose. But whether you did or you didn't, you still need to understand this information. What the cotton swab had on it, and its intention was to rub up here on the olfactory nerves, okay, up right below the ethoid bone, which has the crystal in it where you get your direction from in life, okay? The cotton had a powdered type of crystal in it. I can't say for sure exactly what kind of crystal it had, because I don't know for sure. It may have been a type of quartz, or it may have been some other variation. I don't know the answer to that yet. I also know they use crystals in Rolex perpetual watches because they power themselves continuously due to the quartz crystal inside of it. Now, I mentioned that these things, they came from the giant trees of old. Here is an example of one of those. See how all my work ultimately ties together if you've been here long enough to get a bigger picture of what all I'm doing. You can see the tree rings still exist inside this partial stump that's left behind. And there are thousands of these around the world that still exist. And some of them have volcanoes coming out of them. That is another story and is exactly what it sounds like. Here's another image of that very large plateau, you might say, with the rings still being seen on the top, which you can kind of see here in this 3D map image as well. Okay. And let's see. So this should tell you something about, let's go back to here. Okay, this stuff comes from the trees of old, and even the trees of today. It was the sap in the tree until it petrified and became crystal. It's the sap. It runs in veins, basically in large circles around the layers in the tree, the fiber layers in the tree. And the sap would gang up in between the different layers. That's where it would be mostly, okay? And also throughout the entire tree as well. But remember I said if you bent or even probably just scratch one of these crystals, it puts off an energy and it puts off a frequency that has the ability to connect. This should tell you something, or at least potential for something about the trees and how they're standing up in the air like antennas. They have limbs on them just like antennas, and they have this liquid crystalline material that runs throughout their veins in their bodies. It should tell you something about the trees overall, even, and what they are and what they are capable of. At a minimum, capable of communicating with each other and with its environment for long distances, I'm sure. And when the wind blows, just like when you take a deep breath, when the wind blows, what does the tree do? The tree bends. And what happens when you bend this material in its crystalline form? It puts off electricity. It puts off a frequency as well. This is how you can make a radio out of a piece of crystal, okay? You can turn it into a receiver or a transmitter, which is what they do today. So our trees are just absolutely magnificent. And this is why I'm doing and working on, as I can, the Secrets of the Trees documentary, okay? Where I'll have a lot of this kind of stuff in here. Matter of fact, I need to save this image because this is just a really good image. The Secret of the Trees. There we go. Secret of the Trees. Tree makeup. All right. That's a really good image that shows. You see, the trees, they make the gold as well. They make the iron. They make all these things. And they make most of it by pulling it out of thin air. Literally out of the air is where they pull it from. They breathe in the carbon dioxide. They separate the carbon from the oxygen molecule. And then what they do is they take that carbon and build more tree. And then they take that oxygen molecule and release it back out as oxygen, which is how we get to breathe. Part of a big reason why we can breathe. And so back in the day, they had the trees and the landscape. Back in the days of the garden, when any of it was still existing, there were massive trees, massive flora, and the oxygen levels were way higher. Makes me wonder, because of course things were able to grow a lot bigger back then, even giants. And the angels had to come, according to the Bible, and cut the trees down, and it does appear that a lot of them were cut, like with a giant laser or chainsaw or something other. Anyways, I'm about to get off into a whole nother video, ain't I? But really what I'm wanting to do today was to help you understand what this was all about. Okay? What this was all about, why they wanted to get it on these nerve endings up here, why they were trying to rub it on the ethmoid bone, which is where you get your ethics, your direction, and even your physical direction in life, like the birds, how they know where they're supposed to go because of the crystalline material. There's a little crystalline and a little iron, supposedly, right between their eyes above the beak, just like ours, okay? Because this exists right between your eyes, and it sits straight forward just like that, like if someone was standing there looking at you. This is how it looks. It's very small, though. It's only about, from top to bottom, it's only about, it may be an inch, maybe not even that, but it sits right between your eyes. And one of the reasons symbolically why it looks like a cross and it sits right between your eyes, it's a tie back and a go back to the reason Christ was crucified in Golgotha, the skull. And where was he crucified? Right in between the two liars, which are your eyes. Your eyes deceive you into believing things about this world that just aren't quite really true. Okay? And so it was in Golgotha, in the skull, which is where this is at. And it was right between the two eyes, which is where this is at. It's very, very, I mean, I can't explain how these things work out like this. It's the way our Father in heaven made things. So there's that. Let's see. What kind of questions y'all guys got? What kind of thoughts do you have? Help me out here. I mean, I know I'm making progress on all this and all, but it wouldn't hurt having y'all guys' help on any of it that you feel motivated to do and to help me figure out. I can say this, that this also goes all the way back to my documentary called Operation Radiation. Okay? They were doing this kind of stuff all the way back to the early 1900s when they claimed it was the Spanish flu. But what they did was they introduced radio. And radio is short for radiation. And radiation is frequency, the projection of information across the open air through an invisible channel. Okay? Through an invisible channel. And it's amazing how all my work ties back into itself, because I know ultimately it's all one big story, but it does. And I wanted to say thanks. I know that there were a couple of sponsors that stepped forth yesterday from my previous video. The previous video was about the revelation of that they're putting in new emergency alert warning systems all around the world. Okay? Not just in one place, but all around the world, they're putting in new emergency alert systems. And one of the names that comes up is Genesis, but I'm not positive that the name Genesis is tied to every single one of them, but it's definitely tied to a lot of them. But no matter what, the fact that they're doing this, and if you're not aware, it's because I believe that there is going to be an activation frequency that is going to be broadcast here in the very near future that's going to activate people. These guys have built it in the movies, and I can't explain. I could, but it'd take hours to explain all of this again. But it's tied to also this October 3rd presidential alert. Remember back in Mr. T's first presidency, he sent out a single text on October 3rd, Wednesday at 2:18 apparently. And it's tied to that. So that's why I went looking for how are they going to get the body to pick this up. This may not be the only way. What I'm talking about here with this stuff. Let's see, where am I at? I went too far. Yeah. It might be, I highly think it's related to this. Because why else would they have done that? They weren't testing for anything, okay? What they were doing was delivering something, okay? So if you're a little confused, that's why I'm on this path, is because how is it that our body is going to pick this up the most efficiently? And I thought, well, wait, they intentionally wanted to get up into our upper sinuses, which is the ethmoid bone area, which has these nerve endings hanging straight out of our brain. I mean, hopefully you can see what I'm saying. Hopefully so. Guys, if you'd like to support my work, I am 100% supported and sponsored by my viewers. If you donate any amount on a monthly basis, I will credit you in the credits of the videos during that entire month. Any amount, even just $1 every month, and you'll be in the credits because you are a producer. You are helping me produce this work, because otherwise I could not do it. I wouldn't have the time, because this takes full time. I mean, I've been putting out videos almost every day, and I'm still feeling like I'm not getting it done fast enough. If you have any really good, solid information that you want to share with me, you can send it to me, again, via text message, okay? Text messages only, but you can send it to me. And links are really good. Short explanations of getting straight to the point of what it is that you want me to see. And of course, comments, that works as well. But if you think it's really important, then you need to get it directly to me. All right, guys, I love you, and I'll be back real soon. Bye-bye for now.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.